Good morning, everybody. Those of you who are in the hearing room may use electronic devices, to transmit outside what they hear in the room, but only after 10 minutes have elapsed. They may not be used for recording or photography. There are reporting restriction orders applicable to the open hearings. Would everybody please read them in case they apply on any particular day? I don't anticipate they will do today, but there may arise a moment when they do. Yeah. Can Sara be sworn, please?
Good morning, Sara. I'm the Usher Jane, and I will take you through the affirmation. So if you'd like to repeat after me, please. I do solemnly, sincerely and truly
I do solemnly, sincerely and truly
declare and affirm
Declare
and affirm
and affirm
that the evidence I shall give
that the evidence I shall give
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and
nothing but the truth.
nothing but the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Sara. I call you that because you are anonymised. Thank you for agreeing to give evidence. I know that it can be a struggle for people in your position. If at any time during the course of the day you want a break, ask for it and I will immediately give it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Throughout this hearing, I will refer to you as Sara because your real name has been restricted for privacy. Sara, do you recall providing a witness statement to the inquiry dated the 30th of May 2025?
Yes,
Are you familiar with the contents of that statement?
I am.
And can you confirm that the contents of that statement are true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I can.
So, Sara, we're going to look first at Croydon Hunt Saboteurs and your activities with them and their activities. And we will move on to a trip you made to France with the man you knew as James Straven, that the STS referred to as Operation Lime. And then we will move on to the sexual relationship with James Straven. So first, just by way of brief background, in your witness statement, you assert that your first experience in animal rights activism was handing out leaflets about kangaroo meat in Sainsbury's.
Yeah, that's correct.
And your interest in animal welfare led to your joining Croydon Hunt Saboteurs around 1998.
Yeah.
Can you assist us with when in 1998, roughly, that was?
No, I can't remember exactly when it was.
How did you find out about Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
Through somebody that was involved in the Croydon Hunt Saboteurs at the time.
And when you refer to joining Croydon Hunt Saboteurs, what did that actually mean in practice?
It just meant being talking to the people that were running it to say that I'd like to go along. So it wasn't like a join in.
Sure, fine.
Per se, yeah, it was just being permitted to come and do it, just asking and being allowed to join, as in turn up to do the
SABs.
To do the hunts, yeah.
Yeah, so if I understand correctly, it was just about participating on SABs.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you didn't have meetings as part of the
No.
as part of the saboteur group.
No.
And was it easy to join up, as it were? Were they welcoming? Were they keen?
Yes, and also I think because I knew somebody that was already part of that,
Yeah,
that made it easier.
I
Probably.
understand. So it gave you an in.
Yeah.
You say in your witness statement that you started going out on SABs late autumn 98. So is it right to assume that that's round about the time you actually joined as well? Autumn 98.
Yeah.
And was there a social scene associated with Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
Yes, there was. Yeah.
There's a reference in your witness statement when you talk about meeting James Straven. You mentioned going to the pub with members of the group. Would you go to the pub regularly as a group?
Yeah, and that would be after we had been out on a Saturday or Sunday on a hunt, and we would usually stop off at the pub on the way home.
I understand. And was the core participant that we are referring to as Wendy, was she a part of that scene, that social scene?
Yeah.
And the group? Did you become friends with Wendy through your involvement in Croydon Hunt Saboteurs, or did you know her already?
I think I knew her already through the friend that introduced me to the Hunt Saboteurs.
And you became close friends with Wendy, is that accurate?
Yes.
You started volunteering at the wildlife hospital that Wendy worked at. Did you arrange that through Wendy?
I can't remember. I would imagine so, yes.
Sara, I think you've got a cipher list with you. I'm just going to refer you to some people on that are being referred to as L1, L2, L3 and L4.
Yeah.
Were they members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
Yes, they were.
And were they part of the social scene associated with Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
Yes.
Did you get to know these people well?
Reasonably well. They weren't super close friends, but they were part of the group.
And when you went to the pub, they would be there?
Sometimes, yeah.
Would you describe Croydon Hunt Saboteurs as a close-knit group?
Yes, I suppose so. Yeah, certain people were close.
The power base profile of James Straven says that 4 or 5 people from the Croydon Hunt Saboteurs lived in a communal house. Is that your recollection?
I can't remember it being 4 or 5. I can't remember.
Do you remember socialising with members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs at their homes in private addresses?
Very rarely. I think I went there maybe once.
Right. Moving now, Sara, to your level of involvement in the sabbing scene. You say in your witness statement that you took part in only 15 or so sabs between 1998 and 2000. And you say that you weren't out in the field much. When you say in the field, do you mean by that spraying citronella on the dogs, confronting the hunters, the sharp end of sabbing?
Yeah, I was mainly in the van. So I wasn't out in the countryside with them.
Why were you mainly in the van and not in the countryside?
I couldn't keep up with them. They were a lot
Physically?
fitter.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Level of fitness for me really was probably the primary thing.
But you did go in the field a bit, I understand from your witness statement.
I think I went the first couple of times and just found it too hard
Right.
physically.
You've referred to, yes, you would map read in the van when you were out on the hunt, and that you would keep in touch with the SABs in the field, and then you'd coordinate with them and pick them up. Kept in touch with them how? Did you do that with walkie-talkies or with phones?
I can't remember. It could have been with mobile phones. I think it would have depended where we were.
Right.
Did we have walkie-talkies? We might have had radios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in essence, after your first couple of sabbing experiences, you took on, is it fair to say, a support role in the sabbing activities rather than a...
Well,
it was
it's
bringing
still
you face
active
to
as in
face.
going out with them.
Yeah.
If you mean support as in supporting them while they were in the field, then yeah.
Can you recall when in 2000 you stopped sabbing?
Probably right towards the end until I left the country.
That's preempted my next question, Sara. So is that why you stopped sabbing, because you were preparing for that move abroad?
Yeah.
Looking now at James Straven's account of your levels of involvement, Sara, if we could bring up, please, his witness statement, which is UCPI 35553, page 99. It's paragraphs 261 and 262. Sorry, we're just waiting for the document to come up. Sara, while we're waiting, I'll read it out. I'll just read out the relevant. It's just a short extract. Here, it's up. So paragraph 261, he says this: I do recall Sara. She was an occasional hunt sab interested in animal rights, but not an extremist. 262, I do not remember how I first met Sara, but it was probably on a hunt sab. She was about and part of the animal rights hunt sab group, but not a radical or violent one, and she was not a part of any inner clique. First, was there an inner clique within the Croydon Hunt Saboteurs that you were aware of?
I wouldn't say there was an inner clique. There were groups of friends within the group.
His inference seems to be there was an inner clique that was radical and violent. Were you aware of the existence of anything like that?
No.
He goes on, she was entirely sincere in her beliefs, and despite her own reservations and personality and any risk to her career, she was prepared to risk arrest in pursuit of these. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
He continues, she was not fully committed to the violent struggle and would not have countenanced doing serious harm to humans or property. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
There's an inference on one reading where he says you were not fully committed to the violent struggle and would not have countenanced serious harm. It could be read as meaning that you were slightly committed to the violent struggle and you might have countenanced minor harm. Is that accurate?
That would have been part of being a hunt saboteur in general, yeah.
So can you elaborate on that just a little bit? So by that, what do you mean? Do you mean...
That could have been verbal shouting on either side from us or the hunt.
Yeah.
It could have been possibly being attacked on the field.
Right.
Or even in the van. So there was always going to be a risk of that happening with high emotions around from both sides.
Sure. And what about criminal damage?
That would happen if you needed to go and trespass or get into somewhere. It's possible that could happen.
He goes on in his witness statements. He said that she did, however, accept the value in home visits, where these were related to live import and export of animals, laboratories, or similar. Is that accurate?
I could see the value of doing it, but I didn't particularly agree with that.
We'll explore home visits in a little more detail later on, but did you participate in them?
No, I didn't.
Do you have any idea of what took place when members of Croydon Hunt Saboteur went on home visits?
No. Apart from the only thing I would remember that I was told was there could be some verbal abuse.
Right. But that's all you were told about what took place?
Yeah.
To what extent was there a perception within members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs that home visits were effective, in that, for example, Hillgrove Cat Farm was shut down? Was there a general perception, as far as you were aware, that that was in part due to home visits to...
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I'm just going to read to you just the extract from HN16's witness statement on home visits, just to see if any of it rings any bells. This is, again, same document. It's page 67, and it's paragraph 179.1. And he says this about home visits. He describes them thus. A home visit consisted of a number of animal rights supporters turning up at the home of an employee, close family or supporter of the farm, dressed in black, wearing balaclavas and running up to the house, banging on the doors and windows, shouting abuse, usually timed when the homeowner was returning home there from work. Occasionally this would include causing damage to a car or house windows or the garden. Those involved would then make a quick exit. From what you heard about home visits, does that chime with the description that HN16 provides?
Yeah, I would say probably where they would be dressed in black, I would imagine. Banging on doors and windows, probably shouting abuse, yeah. I don't know about damage to the property. I'd never heard about that.
Moving now, Sara, to HN16, James Straven's reporting on you. There's very little in which he mentions you, but if we could bring up MPS 0001923, so this is at B1. This is a report dated the 29th of March, 1999. It says, the Croydon Hunt Saboteurs are forging close ties with the Privacy Animal Sanctuary in location. Wendy, the girlfriend of Privacy, has just started working at the sanctuary as a full-time fundraiser, while Sara is also engaged there as a part-time nurse. In the near future, the entire SAB group will be attending the sanctuary to assist in the construction of a duck pond. Can you comment, Sara, on the accuracy of James Straven's description of your role at the sanctuary?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was a nurse. I was more of an assistant in helping with cleaning animal cages and things like that. So I wasn't a nurse. I wasn't a qualified nurse.
Understood. Wendy also comments in her witness statement on this intelligence report, and she says that there were no plans to have the entire SAB group come to the hospital, and that only a few of the group knew anything about that hospital. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Don't worry if you can't remember, but this matter that he mentions of the construction of a duck pond, do you recall that James Straven was involved in constructing that pond?
I have no recollection of a duck pond anyway.
Do you have a recollection of any construction work taking place at the sanctuary?
No.
Two other reports, which are, not identical, but very similar in content. I'll bring up one of them. MPS 0002555. So this is at B2. And this is a James Straven report dated the 6th of September, 1999. And it reads, following the demise of his beloved Citroën BX, L1 has now purchased Sara's vehicle, a light blue Ford Escort registration, and then redacted VRN. And there's another report that's very similar to that. Mm-hmm. Can you comment on the accuracy of this report?
I did have a light blue Escort. I can't remember the registration, but I don't remember selling it to L1.
Are you saying that that's untrue, or you simply don't remember?
I would say it's untrue. I think I would remember. Yeah.
We'll look now at a management document. This is MPS 0007389, page 4, paragraph 2. Sir, it's at B9. And yes, page 4, paragraph 2. This document's undated, but it appears to have been written soon after the 20th of November 2001. And it's written by an SDS DS called Noel War. And from the date, obviously, this was after you'd moved abroad, Sara. So if we look at B, sorry, on page 4, yeah, that where it says, that's it, thank you. It reads thus: Sara, the owner of Gist address. However, Sara is currently out of the UK. During this time, this address is rented out, and Sara uses Gisted, another, address as a UK base. This address is at least a couple of streets further over. However, it seems likely that on finally returning to the UK, Sara will retake possession of address. Sara, when in the UK, has been a regular hunt saboteur and peripherally involved with several campaigns that MT, as in Magenta Triangle, which is James Traven's code name, has been closely associated with. She was also the one-time girlfriend of his close associate L1. Like privacy above, it seems optimistic to suppose she would not recognise MT, and the case is worse as such a compromise is more likely to occur in the residential streets near his children's address. First, Sara, please can you comment on the accuracy of your being the one-time girlfriend of L1?
That's absolute rubbish. I was never his girlfriend.
Were you good friends with him?
I was friends, but there was never I was never his girlfriend, ever.
And can you also please comment on the accuracy of when you finally returned to the UK, retaking possession of your address in Sutton?
No, and I sold that before I left the country, which he would have been aware of.
He knew that.
Yeah, we were still friends when I left the country.
And he was privy to your selling that flat.
Yeah.
Looking now at one of HN16 James Traven's early witness statements that he provided to the chair. This is UCPI 35199. So this is in your supplemental bundle S11. And it's dated the 16th of October 2017. If we look at page 1, the second paragraph. It's a little way through the... Sorry, no, that's not the right paragraph. The third paragraph. And just a few lines down, he says, Sara and Wendy may be dealt with together. As the risk assessor notes, they were in relationships with individuals that were central parts of my network and shared addresses with them. I would have called these numbers to talk to L1 or privacy. I did not have an appropriate relationship with these females. We've established that you were never in a relationship with L1.
Yeah.
Was Wendy ever in a relationship with L1?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can you comment, please, Sara, on the accuracy of the assertion in this witness statement that you shared an address with either L1 or privacy? I'm not sure if you're aware of who lies under that privacy redaction. Don't worry if not, but did you ever share an address?
No, I didn't share an address with anybody.
With anybody, so at no point
No.
did you live with another member of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
No, not at all, no.
And at any stage, did James Traven ring you in order to speak to L1 or another Hunt Saboteur?
No.
we'll look now at some other management documents, Sara. These relate to James Straven's extraction plan, so his extraction from the field. MPS 0009486. So this is at B4. It's dated, it predates the one we just looked at, so it's dated the 2nd of June 2000. This is also written by D.S. Noel War. Page 2, paragraph 3, and by number 3, sorry, that's it. He writes here, Sara, a Brixton Hunt saboteur and former girlfriend of Privacy, lives in a flat near Magenta Triangle's real ex-wife and children. Just for the avoidance of doubt, Sara, were you ever a member of Brixton Hunt saboteurs?
No, I was not.
The bit about former girlfriend of Privacy, have you got a copy of this document so you can see under that privacy redaction?
No.
I understand that the person under that, we won't mention any names, but the person under that privacy redaction is the person with whom you had a casual relationship in 2000.
Okay.
Now, this document was written in early June 2000. He claims in this document you were a former girlfriend of this individual. Were you at that time a former girlfriend of this individual, or were you still in a relationship?
That relationship, which was a casual relationship, didn't start until around about the end of June, middle to the end of June 2000.
Thank you. If we could bring up, please, another management document. This is MPS 0749475. So it's at B5. This is a file note from HN16 James Straven's manager, his DCI, HN58, and it's dated the 11th of July 2000, so it's written a little bit after that one we just looked at. And he says this in the first paragraph. On Monday, the 10th of July, I had a further discussion with Magenta Triangle regarding his withdrawal strategy, and in particular aspects relating to his work, potential threat from Sara and his father, in inverted commas. How do you feel, Sara, about being described as presenting a potential threat to James Straven at this stage?
I think that's very unfair and unjust. I don't understand why I would have been a threat. His father, does he mean her father?
No, he means it's to do with his cover story. Don't worry about that. He's referring to problems and his cover father, as it were. Then 3 paragraphs down, please. Yes, sorry, just the second paragraph in that chunk. Magenta Triangle's ex-wife lives at redacted Sutton, while Sara lives in a flat Privacy just nearby. She currently works in Sutton at Privacy. I said that we would do some research to establish route to work, etc. First, Sara, did James Straven ever say anything to you about where his ex-wife and 3 children lived?
No.
This document suggests that HN58 was going to research your route into work.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to comment on that?
I only realised that a couple of weeks ago and I found that quite shocking. That's all I want to say.
I don't want to labour the point. I just want you to take you to one other document. It's a little unclear, but we'll explore it briefly. Mm-hmm. This is a debrief that HN16 wrote after he'd left the field, shortly after. It's at MPS 072282, page 10. It's at S1, sir. Page 10. It's undated, but it would appear to be written sometime after the 1st of April 2002, around June 2002. So on page 10, after C, he says this: due to circumstances beyond anyone's control, a peripheral member of my target group moved in around the corner from my ex-wife and children, whom it had been my habit to visit regularly. After I initially reported this, I was informed S Squad would be tasked to follow the hood in question, redacted, so that we could assess the threat accurately. This was never done, and the follow was eventually performed by an ex-member of the branch. No help was ever sought or offered from the Met, and I am currently financing their move away myself, as the situation has worsened with other threats having moved into the near area following the first, and of course my knowledge of where they might be at any given time has ceased. Now, you're not named in that extract, Sara, and it appears to muddle up a few aspects from the lives of various associates. But I wanted to ask you whether, if this did refer to you, whether you were ever aware of being followed or having someone follow you physically.
No.
And again, if this does refer to you, we'll explore that with HN16, James Straven, when he gives evidence. What are your feelings about that?
About being followed, you mean?
By a member of, it would seem, Special Branch, if it was you.
Yeah, I would feel quite angry about that because of the risk that he took in the first place of beginning a relationship with me when he knew that I lived 2 streets away from his ex and his children. That was a massive, huge risk that was taken, that needn't have happened.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, my life was, obviously, there's a clear point of where I was physically spied on.
Just looking briefly, Sara, at what James Straven has to say about associating with you when you lived so close to his ex-wife and children. This is in his witness statement. It's UCPI 35553. It's page 100, paragraph 266. And he says this: I have been referred to page 4 of what is titled Magenta Triangle Extraction, which refers to the threat posed by the proximity of Sara to where my children's mother and stepfather now reside. I am asked why, bearing in mind this threat, did I enter into a sexual relationship with Sara? I can only say through stupidity. The threat by the time my extraction came from the fact that after Sara and I had finished our relationship, I was led to believe that she had a relationship with Privacy, and the threat came from him rather than Sara. So it's accurate that by the 20th of November 2001, you'd left the country.
Yeah. I was coming back occasionally and staying with a friend in Sutton.
Okay.
You did come back. I lived there for 3 weeks with her before I actually left to go abroad after I'd sold my flat.
Sure. Can you comment on the accuracy of the claims that Straven makes here about an ongoing threat being presented by Privacy? This is the person we referred to earlier, the person with whom you had the relationship in summer.
Yeah.
Can you comment on that?
Why that would have been a threat, you mean?
Yes. No, on the fact that he says that he was given to understand when those documents were written in 2001, the threat he faced was posed by the fact that you were in a relationship with that person.
I don't know why that would have been a threat, apart from us obviously bumping into him if he was with his children.
Moving now on to James Straven's level of involvement in the Croydon Hunt saboteurs. He first reports on the group in April 97. So he'd been a member, it seems, for a while before you joined. We established earlier that you met him on one of your first SABs in autumn 1998. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And by the time you joined Sara, was it your impression that he was well established in the group?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he quite... Sorry.
But everybody knew him, and it was clear that he'd been there a while. Yeah.
Was he quite prominent in the group? Did he have a leading role?
Not that I noticed to begin with, but I think as I got to know him and the group, then I would say yes, from the point of view that he went on a lot of the activity and he lent his car out to people in the group.
In respect of what he says about his level of involvement, if we could bring up his witness statement again, please, which is UCPI 35553. It's page 72, paragraph 194. And he says this: I would say that the level in the Croydon Hunt saboteurs that I reached was that I became a second-tier organiser, one removed from the core, and eventually I helped with planning, organisation, logistics, and tactical decision on the day of an event. I eventually became embedded in Croydon Hunt saboteurs through sabbing activity and was included in their other protest activity. To the best of your recollection, Sara, does that accord with your impression?
The bottom bit for sure, that he was embedded and involved in other protest activity. About him becoming a second tier organiser, I don't know for sure about that.
He refers here again to a core. Again, was there a core as far as you were aware?
Well, there were people that went out regularly that were very committed, yes.
Right. Were L1, L2, L3 and L4 part of that core?
They were.
You referred to his lending out his car. Do you have any recollection of his providing the group with night vision goggles to assist with sabbing?
I remember something about that when we were at somebody's house and we were watching badgers and foxes at night coming out to feed. There was something to do with night vision goggles then, but I don't remember where they came from or why we had them. At that time, for me, it was to watch the nighttime activity of wild animals.
Right, as opposed to sabbing.
Yeah.
Assistance.
Mm-hmm.
In the power base profile of HN16 James Straven, so this is B1.3, page 4. You're quoted, Sara, as saying that everybody liked him, just in terms of his popularity. Everybody liked him, got on with him, he had a good sense of humour, very dry, and was intelligent. He was a bit of a rebel, his family had expected an army career, and he bailed out of that. He said going into animal rights and another career was a sort of rebellion. Do you stand by that?
I do.
So he was a popular member of the group?
Yeah.
Were you aware when you joined, or were you made aware that in March 98 he'd suffered quite serious injuries on a Countryside Alliance march? Was that something you were aware of?
Vaguely. I don't remember the details, but I know something had happened.
Was it your impression that that experience had also made him more popular in the group, in the sense that he'd taken a hit for the
Vaguely,
team?
yeah. Again, I can't remember details, but it does ring a bell.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it predates your meeting him.
Yeah.
When you knew him, was he a heavy drinker in the group?
No.
And did he take drugs?
Not that I'm aware of.
You were under the impression he was a vegan, is that accurate?
That's accurate.
There's a reference in the Powerbase profile to nicknames that members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs had for him. And that these were Posh Sab and James Blonde. He denies knowing this. Can you comment on your impression of whether or not he knew that these
He
were...
knew. Yeah, he definitely knew. I called him James Blonde as well. And I think I may have even written postcards to him under that name.
Right, and Posh Sab as well?
Posh Sab, I remember less, but I can imagine that would have been the case, yeah.
Right, but James Blonde was said to his face by you and others.
Yeah.
How did he react to being called James Blonde?
From what I can remember, I think he thought it was quite amusing. Now we know why.
But it didn't seem to bother him.
No.
Was it your understanding, what was your understanding of the basis for that nickname?
Because of the hair, not for any other reason.
Right, not because he was suspected of being a spy.
No. Gosh, no.
How often were you in the field with James Traven? I mean, I understand you said only twice. Was he with you in the field on those occasions?
The first time, I can't remember. The first time I met him, actually, I met him in the pub afterwards, so I don't think so.
Right, don't worry.
I can't remember.
Don't worry.
Honestly, can't remember.
He's described, again, in the Powerbase profile, as by an individuals called Joe and John. I think John is L3. I'm not entirely sure who Joe is. But he's described as being a strong fighter and as being at the forefront when attacked by police or hunt followers. And they go on to say that he was a frontline SAB. He was very much part of the group, whatever may have been happening or threatening to happen. He would not necessarily instigate things, but was not someone melting into the background either. He would be very much part of events on the day. And Ellie, we don't need to bring it up, but Ellie in her witness statement, this is just for the transcript, at paragraph 7.8, she says, while undercover, he was known not to shy away from physical confrontations. Now, I understand you didn't witness directly his behaviour in the field, but does any of this chime with his reputation in the group?
Yeah.
So he had a reputation as someone who wouldn't shy away from...
Yeah.
Did he ever tell you about participating in scraps?
Not really.
While sabbing?
No, not that I can remember.
It's mentioned in the Powerbase article that you thought he trained in Aikido. I'm not sure if that's how you...
It was some sort of martial art. It wasn't Aikido, it was something else, but I can't remember the name of it. Yeah.
And did he ever give you to understand that he used those skills when he was out sabbing?
Not that I recall.
Moving now to look at the sabbing activity of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs generally. Mm-hmm. You say in your witness statement, again, we don't need to bring it up, but just for the transcript, it's paragraph 2.9. You say, it was a known fact that there would sometimes be public disorder during a hunt, as our group, the Hunt, and the police were always there, and we didn't see eye to eye. What do you mean there, Sara, by public disorder?
There could be shouting. There maybe could have been pushing and shoving if the people were trying to get into the field or things like that. Right. The Hunt was sometimes would be out with their whips and things like that. So there were scuffles.
Right.
There were scuffles between the police, the Hunt, and the Hunt Saboteurs, for sure.
Sure. You say in that same paragraph, you say, I think that some of the group approved and advocated for public disorder, but not all. Can I just unpack that with you a little bit? What do you mean exactly by they advocated for public disorder?
What do I mean by that? That it was a necessary part of being on a sabotage of a hunt. public disorder.
And you mean the types of actions that you mentioned just now? So scuffling when trying to gain access
shouting
to
at
the field.
people. Yeah, there's a lot of verbal interaction against the hunt.
When you say
And also going onto land that wasn't legally allowed.
right, so trespass or
Yeah.
aggravated trespass.
Yeah.
And what gave you the impression that some of the group approved and advocated for public disorder? Did they say that openly, or is it what you observed?
No, just some of the group were more upfront than others.
Right.
Would have been more in the front line than others.
More gung-ho than others?
Just different personalities, yeah.
Sure. And again, can I ask, were L1, L2, L3 and L4 members who were more gung-ho than others?
Yes.
You say, Sara, in your witness statement that you yourself didn't witness any violent acts from hunt saboteurs on a hunt. As far as you're aware, did the members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs ever or routinely take weapons with them when they went on SABs?
Not that I'm aware of.
You say you didn't witness any violent acts from SABs. Did you ever hear about any violent acts from SABs on hunts?
Not that I can remember. Not apart from the usual scuffling. Sure. I don't remember anything standing out, no.
You've mentioned now a few times that sometimes the hunt would be provoked verbally, or that there'd be some verbal interactions.
Both ways round, not just between...
Sure.
Both ways round.
And was this something you witnessed, or you were just...
Occasionally, I was in the van, so yes, occasionally I would see it at the beginning where they'd started, or, yeah.
And when you say provoke verbally, do you mean it was verbal abuse?
Yep.
And it was going both ways?
It was going both ways, for sure.
Right. Looking now at the behaviour of the hunt and hunt supporters and Terrier Mem, did you ever experience violence from hunters or hunt supporters or Terrier Mem?
Me personally, no, I didn't.
Did you ever witness violence from these people towards members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs?
Not directly, no, but I heard about it.
Right. And can you give us a flavour of the kind of things you
Yeah, I can remember things like Terrier men pushing people out of the way, blocking the path, attacking them, and also the same from the hunt with whips and things like that.
So
using them physically against hunt saboteurs.
Right, so whipping, using their whips on
the
hunt saboteurs.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reference in HN16, James Straven's witness statement, again, just for the transcript, it's paragraph 254, we don't need to bring it up, but he says that on the 21st of November 1998, he was attacked and struck with a golf club on a hunt SAB. And I just want to bring this up. This is a roughly contemporaneous document about this incident. So this is at MPS 000 1577. That's a S2, sir. And it's dated the 21st of November 1998. I believe it's written by HN58. And it says this: on Saturday, the 21st of November 1998 at 1400 hours, D.S. Thompson was on duty with his target group in the area of Kent. His group were involved in hunt saboteur activity. This brought them in conflict with a group of boys who were intent on preventing the saboteurs' activity. Some disorder occurred during which D.S. Thompson received blows to the head and body from a golf club. He was able to extricate himself from the vicinity. Wendy, in her witness statement, also refers to this incident. It's page 27 of that witness statement, which is paragraph 12.5. The reference is 38208. It's UCPI. And I'll read out the extract, I've got it in front of me. She says, I was present at this incident where 2 vehicles of Hunt supporters attacked us with weapons, including golf clubs and bats. I was also hit to the ground with a golf club. We all grabbed branches, fought for ourselves against our attackers, and then ran. Now, from your evidence so far, Sara, I understand you weren't present when this happened, but did you hear about this?
No, I don't remember anything about that.
Right. We'll move on. We will look at this in far greater detail in due course, but it's clear that on the 1st of September 2000, L4 suffered very serious physical injury when he was run over by a member of a Hunt.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 examples there. Just to the best of your recollection, don't worry if not, do you remember any other standout incidents of violence towards members of Croydon Hunt saboteurs from your period of involvement?
No, I don't remember anything.
Looking quickly at the conduct of the police on SABs, did you yourself, Sara, have any encounters or confrontations with the police when you were sabbing?
Not that I can recall.
Did you witness any between other members of Croydon Hunt saboteurs and the police?
No, because I was usually in the van. I didn't
Fine.
really see any of that.
My next question was going to be, were you aware of any disparity in the way the police treated members of the Hunt and members of sabbing groups?
Only from vaguely things that maybe were reported back.
Right. And those reports, the gist of those reports was that there was a disparity, or that there wasn't?
Sometimes I think there was, yeah.
In terms of, sorry, just to labour the point, but in terms of who was given
Towards the Hunt saboteurs.
they received worse treatment.
I would say,
Right.
yeah. From my recollection, yeah.
I just want to take you quickly to a document. It was not sent to you in your original bundle, Sara, but we'll bring it up. It's MPS 0001541. It's a S3, sir. And it's dated the 16th of November, 1998. Just to make sure, Sara, so you think, I mean, you've said that you got involved around autumn 98. Do you think you were involved by November 98?
Yeah.
Yeah. This report reads thus: Croydon Hunt saboteurs are considering an attack on a fascist who routinely drinks in the public house opposite Privacy in Coulsdon. Representations had already been made to Mario, a former SAB, now the contact with London AFA, that's Anti-Fascist Action, to encourage them to hit him. But as nothing has so far transpired, Croydon are now considering taking matters into their own hands, despite the proximity to the target. Initially, the fascist will be followed by different vehicles until his home address is established, and he will then be attacked at that venue. It has already been established that he lives on an estate further down the Privacy Road on the left. My understanding, Sara, is that the privacy restriction here is over the name of the person with whom you had a relationship in summer 2000. Obviously, you're not mentioned in this document, but you were involved on your evidence in Croydon Hunt saboteurs at this time. Were you aware of anything like this?
No.
Does this sound like the kind of thing that members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs might?
Not that I'm aware of, not
Like to
attacking
do.
people like that, no.
If we look briefly again at HN16 Straven's witness statement, UCPI 35553, it's page 74, paragraph 200. He says this: I did consider the Croydon Hunt Saboteurs or individuals associated with Croydon Hunt Saboteurs were regularly involved in the planning and execution of criminal activity in support of their very broad anarchic agenda. They were regularly involved in public disorder because they were regularly able to commit a large number of individuals to events where violent disorder was highly likely. So from your dealings with the group, Sara, can you comment on the accuracy of whether Croydon Hunt Saboteurs were regularly involved in the planning and execution of criminal activity?
I can't comment. I know some of the group went on different marches and protests and things like that, not just for animal rights, but for human rights and things like that. But I don't know the details.
Would you agree that Croydon Hunt Saboteurs had a broad anarchic agenda?
Not that I'm aware of.
And drawing from your own experiences with the group, would you agree that Croydon Hunt Saboteurs as a group was able to commit a large number of individuals to events where violent disorder was highly likely?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Apart from sabbing, Sara, you set out in your witness statement some other animal rights related activity that you undertook. And you refer to a demonstration at Hillgrove cat testing farm. To the best of your recollection, did you ever attend any demonstrations at Shamrock Monkey Farm?
No.
Right. Looking at home visits now, HN16 in his witness statement, again, we don't need to bring it up, but for the transcript, it's at paragraph 179.2. He says that he was present at some home visits and that they made him uncomfortable. If we could bring up the power-based document, please, which is 35222. Yeah, thank you. It's page 12. So it's at B13, B13. And it says this: at Shamrock and Hillgrove demos, activists sometimes carried out follow-up actions immediately afterwards. For instance, a handful of people would go off to do different things, such as home visits, to shout at staff of the farms. Sara does remember that James went off with the others at least on one occasion. Other members of the Croydon group, however, cannot imagine Straven would have been trusted enough to be invited along. And you refer to this also in your witness statement, Sara. If we could bring that up, that's UCPI 38210. It's page 38 and paragraph 7.1. And you say this: I think he might have gone to the houses of Animal Lab staff. He told me once when he'd been on a demonstration, I think, that he was going to do that with some others of the group. I can't remember who was there. I think it was to hassle the staff about their jobs, to frighten them. James wasn't arrested or didn't attend court in my presence. Do you mean, just for the avoidance of doubt, Sara, that he wasn't arrested for that home visit specifically, or do you just mean generally when you knew him? Generally.
Generally, yeah.
Did he ever say anything to you about being, this was before you met him, but about being arrested in August 98 on the way to a Huntington Life Sciences demo?
I can't remember.
Don't worry.
I can't remember it.
Moving to just focusing on the home visit aspect. Both extracts suggest that on this occasion that you refer to, when James Draven went on a home visit, that, if I understand it correctly, you were both at a demonstration and then he expressed his intention to go afterwards to pay a home visit.
Yeah.
Is that right? You say that you think the purpose of the visit was to hassle the staff about their jobs and to frighten them. What gave you the impression that this was the purpose of the visit?
Because it was people that were carrying out vivisection on animals, and that was my understanding of trying to deter them from what they were doing.
Did James Draven provide any details about what he intended to do on the home visit?
No.
Did you hear anything after that home visit about what took place?
No.
Looking now to the at the attack on L4, Sara. This is referred to in your witness statement. It's UCPI 38210. It's page 4. It's paragraph 2.7. And you say this, have you got it?
Yeah.
The final thing I attended was a demonstration at a dog kennels, which I think was after one of the group was attacked by hunt supporters at a hunt sab in around autumn 2000. I remember walking up the drive to the kennels. There was a lot of shouting, and I didn't like the feeling of being part of it. I decided I didn't want to stay, as it seemed that it could get confrontational, and backed away and went back to my car as far as I can remember. That's all I can remember. Just moving back from that, we'll look in a little more detail at that demonstration. But when you mention there about the demonstration being in response to one of the group being attacked by hunt supporters at a SAB around autumn 2000, is it your understanding, your recollection, that that's referring to the attack on L4 on the 1st of September 2000?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, that's what it would have been, yeah.
We'll look briefly. James Thompson reported on this event. And we'll bring this up. This is MPS 0003867. It's a S6, sir. And he says this. He says, so yes, dated the 1st of September 2000. Sir, it's in your supplemental bundle. He says, L4 was seriously injured this morning when a Land Rover belonging to the Surrey and Burstow Hunt ran him over during a confrontation between hunt supporters and hunt saboteurs. Others present at the event included L2, Privacy, and Privacy from Liverpool. Not surprisingly, there is great anger amongst the SABs at this incident, as it was felt to be a deliberate act. There has been immediate talk of reprisals, but no definite plan has yet been formulated. So, again, Sara, just for the avoidance of doubt, is this the attack, as you understand it to be, on L4 that prompted then that subsequent demo at the kennels?
Yeah, I think that's what it was about, but it was definitely L4 that was attacked. And from what I can remember, that was what it was about.
Right. Just looking at I've been asked to refer to him, by the way, as James Thompson. Sorry, I don't want to confuse you, because I know I've been referring to him as James Draven up to this point. But from moving forward, I'm going to refer to him as James Thompson, just using his real name. Was it accurate, Sara, that there was great anger amongst the SABs at the incident, i.e. the harm?
Yeah.
And was it felt to be a deliberate act?
Yes, it was, absolutely. I wasn't there, but that's the feedback for sure, yeah.
Were you there? Were you present when this happened?
No, I was not present, no.
When he says there has been immediate talk of reprisals, does that chime with your recollection?
I don't remember that. I just remember there being an outrage about the fact that it had happened.
Looking again now at the protest you referred to in your witness statement, Sara, about at the kennels. Again, the power-based document refers to this. This is on page 11. Sara, it's at B13 of your bundle. It says this: James was considered as a good friend of the member of the Croydon group who almost died after he was deliberately driven over by a Hunt supporter in a four-wheel drive vehicle. He was very present at his bedside during his recovery. The attack happened on the 1st of September 2000, when a small delegation of the Croydon Hunt saboteurs turned up at a dawn meet of the Old Surrey Burstow and West Kent Hunt, attempting to prevent the killing of fox cubs. The event, i.e. the attack on L4, had a massive impact on Hunt saboteurs and their supporters. A call went out for a demo the next day. What started as a peaceful demo escalated at the kennels, where few police were seen in attendance. When we arrived, two men came out, one with a stick, one with a pickaxe handle. After that, it all kicked off. They were threatening people. There was quite some damage at the kennels, and 36 people were subsequently arrested weeks later at their homes by detectives from Surrey and Sussex police forces, who were investigating both the hunting incident and the subsequent demonstration. To the best of your recollection, Sara, does that sound like the protest at the kennels that you refer to in your witness statement?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
But if I understand your evidence correctly, you left before...
Witnessing that, I didn't witness that directly. Correct.
But were you aware subsequently that things had deteriorated to that extent?
Yeah.
Sara, looking now at your trip to France in January 2000, you refer to this in your witness statement. It's UCPI 38210. It's page 16. Paragraph 3.45.
I think 2001.
Sorry, 2001. I apologise. That's my mistake. Yeah, okay, 2001.
Yeah. Okay.
In early 2001, a year into our platonic relationship, James was going to Bordeaux in France for a few days' holiday with another member of the group and asked me to go and join them too. I went for a few days. He shared a room with our friend, and I had my own room. Cross-referencing this with some documents from the SDS, Sara, it suggests that that James Thompson and L3 went to Marseille around the 9th of January 2001 and were in Bordeaux around the 10th, 11th of January. Does that sound accurate to you?
About right, yeah.
We look at the power base profile again, please. UCPI 35222. So it's a B13. It's page 15 of that document. And it says this. In early 2001, Straven offered John, that's L3, as I understand it, a trip to France on the pretext of having to see a bank manager in Marseille to discuss a business venture to import golf carts. Then he says, about 10 days after the initial conversation, the trip was arranged and we drove from Calais to Marseille, across to Bordeaux, where Sara joined us, and back up to Calais via Dieppe. We were away for at least 4 days. The whole occasion had the appearance of spontaneity. I just want to explore that with you a little, Sara. L3, who I understand to be John, says here that the trip was impromptu, so proposed by James Thompson approximately 10 days before you left. Was that the same for you? Was it fairly last minute?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Can you assist at all with how far in advance of your actually going he proposed it?
No, I can't be accurate on that.
But not long, is that correct?
Yeah, as far as I remember, it wasn't planned weeks and weeks in advance.
Did he say anything to you about there being, for him, a business aspect to the trip? About...
You know, I vaguely remember something about golf carts, but I don't recall whether or not it was linked to that trip.
Right, but you recall James Thompson saying something to you about a business venture involving golf carts?
Yeah, there was definitely, yeah, it's jiggled something, yeah, there was definitely something about that, but I couldn't go into detail.
What did he say to you when he mentioned the trip? What did he say to you about the reason for the trip?
As far as I can remember, it was just a jolly.
Just a nice...
As far as
break.
I remember, yeah. I can't remember whether he'd said anything about this golf cart thing at that time.
But it was your understanding it was just a nice holiday?
Yeah.
What did he say to you about who else would be on that trip?
Just myself and John.
Yeah, L3.
Yeah.
Did he set out for you or discuss with you the rough form that the trip would take? Like
No.
where you would go? No, he didn't.
No.
What was your understanding of his reason for inviting you on the trip?
We were good friends, and I was due to leave the country a couple of months after, so probably just a good excuse to spend some time together, was my understanding.
Right, that's what he gave you to understand.
Yeah.
How did it come to be that you met up with them in Bordeaux rather than going off with them?
I
from
can't
the
remember. I was
outset?
just thinking that I flew to. It may have been because of work. I think I'd stopped working by then before I left. I can't remember. But I know that I met them. They went before me, and I flew to Bordeaux to meet them there.
And to the best of your recollection, Sara, did you fly in and out of Bordeaux, or did you travel back with them to the UK in the car?
No, because his car had been stolen, allegedly, by the time I got to Bordeaux. They had a hire car. So I think I flew back.
But we understand from other documents that they did drive back in the hire car.
Okay.
But it's your evidence that you don't recall making that trip back with them.
I really honestly don't remember. I don't think I did drive with them.
Sara, I think now might be a good time for a break.
Okay.
So we will resume in
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Content? Good.
All right.
to let him back in again quite quickly.
Sara, returning to the topic of the trip to France in January 2001, you mentioned that James Thompson had his car stolen. I'll just refer you to the relevant bit in your witness statement. It's UCPI 38210. It's page 38, paragraph 6.1.
Okay.
Yeah, and you say, I understand that the trip I described at paragraph 3.45 is what the file note's referring to as Operation Lime. That bit, we don't need to worry about that. However, I did go to France to meet James and L3, I think, in January or February 2001. Well, we've established that it was around the 10th of January 2001.
Yeah.
I remember James's car was stolen on this trip. He arrived at Bordeaux Airport to collect me in a hire car, saying his Land Rover had been stolen in Marseille. Can you recall, Sara, what he said to you about his car being stolen?
He said the car was too high to park it in an underground car park, and he'd left it on the street around the corner from the hotel where they were staying.
Right.
And when they went to get it, it wasn't there.
So was it your understanding? I understand this was a while ago. Don't worry if you can't remember. But when he came to pick you up, was it your understanding that the car had only just been stolen, like that morning or a couple of days?
I can't remember. I just remember it was a very small airport, and they arrived and I couldn't see, their Land Rover was high, I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
And asking where it was and then saying it was a very good question because he didn't know.
And
I can't remember if it was that. I can't remember from Marseille to Bordeaux what that time period was.
Sure. What was his demeanour when he told you about the car being stolen?
Pretty calm.
So I infer from that he didn't seem unduly bothered.
I can actually remember saying, where's the Land Rover? And him saying, that's a very good question. But there was a bit of humour in that response.
Right. And did he say anything about what he'd done to try and locate the car, report the car, anything like that?
I can't remember the details of that.
Did he say anything to you at all about him saying there was something in the car, in the Land Rover, when it was stolen?
No, just all the maps and things that he carried, all the usual stuff that was in it, everything had gone.
So did he specifically refer to maps?
Yeah, because they were something that I'd also bought for him.
Oh, I understand. So you'd bought them for him in advance.
Maps, things like that, yeah.
In advance of the trip, you'd done that for him.
Oh, over time, yeah. I can remember him saying something like the car and everything in it has gone. So.
Okay. Just very briefly, you bought him maps. Do you mean maps for France?
No, just ordnance survey maps.
Right.
Just generally for different areas.
Right. To assist him when he was working around England, or for recreation, or both?
Yeah, I think so. For walking and stuff like that.
Right. To the best of your recollection, did he say anything about about the replacement car, when he'd hired it?
Just that, luckily, he had the means with which to hire a car for the rest of the trip.
Sorry, so you understood that to mean he had the money?
He had the money to be able to hire a car instead, yeah.
Do you remember the kind of car it was? Do you remember it being a Volvo? Don't worry. What did he say to you, if anything, about what he and L3 had been up to on the trip prior to meeting you?
I can't remember.
So don't worry if you can't remember. Did he say anything about what they did when they were in Marseille?
No. Well, he probably did, but I can't remember.
Right, that nothing stood out.
No, nothing
essentially,
stood
from
out,
what you
yeah.
can recall. You've described him picking you up at Bordeaux Airport. Can you recall, did you meet up with L3 soon after that?
Meet up with him, what do you mean?
Well, did you join up? Because was L3 in the car?
Oh, they were all together.
Oh, they were
yeah.
all together. Oh, so L3
They
was
were
in the
both
car
together,
as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have established that earlier.
Yeah.
So did L3, to the best of your recollection, say anything about what they'd been up to?
No.
Did he say anything about the car theft?
Not that I can remember.
Can you remember anything about L3's demeanour when he came to meet you? In that, did he seem normal, relaxed? Did he seem on edge?
Nothing stands out.
So L3 and James Thompson picked you up, and we understand from the documents that it seems you spent about 4 days together. Does that sound about accurate?
No, I don't think it was as long as that. I think it was a couple of nights.
Right.
I don't remember it being 4 days.
Fine. No, I may have got that wrong, actually.
Okay.
But I might be able to refer to something in a bit, that we can pin
Yeah.
it down a little more.
That might have been their whole trip, but yeah.
Sure, yeah. And I understand in terms of accommodation, were you staying in a hotel in Bordeaux?
Yes.
And is it correct that you had your own room and L3 and James Thompson were sharing a room?
Yeah.
Were you aware at any point of any what seemed to be secretive conversations between the two of them nipping off for private conversations?
Not that I can recall.
When you were in Bordeaux with these two men, can you recall what you did, what you got up to?
I can remember we had a walk around town, went for coffee and lunch and things like that, and we went to the beach at one point for a walk, and that's all I can remember really. I think we went to whether it was an Indian or a vegetarian restaurant or something we found
Sure.
while we were there, and that's all I can really remember.
Just in case it jogs something, but this is what James Thompson said to his managers about what you did in this part of the trip, although it's notable that you're not mentioned, but this is what he said he got up to with L3. The document is MPS 0005257, and that's page 5. And his managers report him saying this, that having spent another day in Marseille, they drove to Bordeaux and did the general tourist bit. It appears that L3 really is a wine buff. They contacted the gendarme again and then decided to travel slowly back to Calais over the weekend to return on a ferry to Dover on Monday the 15th of January after a final check with the gendarme. To the best of your recollection, is it accurate that L3 is a wine buff?
I can remember we went somewhere. Now I do remember we went to, I don't know if it was a vineyard or somewhere that sold decent wine. But whether L3 was a wine buff, I can't remember.
Do you recall James Thompson or L3 or both contacting the gendarme at all about
No.
the car? Just for the avoidance of doubt, just to be absolutely clear on your evidence, you have no recollection on that trip of anything being said about a firearm having been obtained in Marseille?
No, not at all.
Nothing about the firearm being in the vehicle?
Nothing, no.
L3, the account that James Thompson gave to his managers was that that the firearm had cost £700. just to get your view on that, was L3 the type of person to have access to £700?
I don't know. I
Right.
didn't know him well enough to know.
Right. And does it follow from that you wouldn't know whether he had any criminal contacts in France?
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Right. And again, just for the avoidance of doubt, at any point did James Thompson say anything to you, whether on that trip or subsequently, or even before the trip, about a plan to buy a firearm in France?
No.
And nothing about a plan or an intention to harm L5. This is the person in the Land Rover who ran over.
No, nothing.
Never heard anything about that.
Nothing.
Now, the record shows, Sara, that the prosecution against L5 collapsed in February 2001. And again, this is just for the avoidance of doubt. James Thompson, in a report, I'll give the reference just for the transcript, we don't need to bring it up, but it's MPS 0072282 on pages 7 and 8. And he mentions that there was a reinstigation, sorry, it's not a report, it's his debrief when he left the SDS. And he refers to there being, after the collapse of the prosecution, there being a reinstigation of plotting L5's demise amongst members of Croydon Hunt saboteurs. Were you ever made privy or aware of anything like that?
No.
Very briefly, not long after this trip to France, there is some suggestion that James Thompson made a trip to Los Angeles on the 4th of February. Do you remember anything about that?
I don't recall anything. The only thing I can think, if I had have known, and I'd be surprised if I hadn't have known, was that it would be to do with his relocation there, which he had told me he was going to do.
So by that point, he had told you.
He had definitely told me while we were still platonic
Right.
relationship that he would be relocated to America to be near his children.
Okay. We will return to that briefly, actually.
Yeah, good, okay.
Sara, I'm going to move now to your relationship with HN16 James Thompson and your sexual relationship with him. We've touched upon this previously, but again, just to be clear, you met James Thompson in autumn 1998, we think round about October. Do you think that's right?
I'm a bit vague about
Sure.
it. That's roughly when I met him.
But by November.
I know we were together in a sexual relationship for about a year.
Right, sure.
So it could have even been a little bit later than that.
You mean a little bit later than autumn? Don't
Yeah,
hold
I
back.
burnt all my journals. I could tell you, but I don't know
No.
the exact dates.
I understand. You were in your early 30s when you met him. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And you met him in the pub after a SAB.
Uh-huh.
And you say in your witness statement you got chatting straight away to him and that you liked him. Can I ask why you liked him?
I think we made each other laugh. I think we just had we just connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you found him easy to talk to. Is that accurate?
I can't remember exactly, but I know I definitely liked him, and there was something there for me.
Yeah, sure. A spark, should we say.
Yeah.
When you met him for the first time, to what extent did he make it clear that he liked you, that he felt some sort of spark?
No, he didn't.
He didn't.
We just were able to communicate and chat.
I understand. So there were no sort of overt sexual overtones at that first meeting.
No.
You say in your witness statement that you found out from a friend that he was interested in you. So was that just after you chatted in the pub?
It must have been shortly afterwards.
Right.
But I think, did I write that? I think I said to my friend that I liked him.
Oh, I understand. Yes, apologies. I think that's my mistake.
Yeah.
And by doing that, were you hoping that that would be passed on to James Thompson?
I think, gosh, I can't remember exactly, but I think my friend said he was going to phone him and tell him. I can't remember
Yeah,
the
don't
exact
worry.
details of
I
it.
understand. It's a long time ago. Just if we could look at something Wendy says in her witness statement, the reference is UCPI 38208. It's page 5, paragraph 4.2. And just bearing in mind that we understand from Wendy that she had known James for a bit longer, so she had known him since April 1997, roundabout. And she says this. She says, Sara met James Thompson when she was sabbing. Sara told me that James had expressed an interest in her. I remember telling Sara that she should definitely give James a chance, as he was a great guy. They began dating after this. In this way, I encouraged Sara to engage in a relationship with James. Does that chime with your recollection, Sara?
Yeah, I know Wendy knew him, and I talked to her about the fact that our other friend was in touch with him about possibly us getting together. Yeah.
You say in your witness statement that he called you and arranged a dinner date to a veggie restaurant in Croydon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I understand we're still talking autumn 98. I know you can't be absolutely specific.
Round about that time.
Yeah.
Could have been a bit later, but it was at the back end of 1998.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the dinner date was something he instigated.
Yes, he called me. Yeah.
Again, we don't need to bring it up, but just for the transcript, at 3.2 of your witness statement, you say that the date went well. Mm-hmm. You say also that it was clear it was the start of something. What do you mean by that? How is it made clear to you it was the start of something?
Because we got on really well. There was a good connection there from the very beginning, and then I think he came back to mine for coffee, and when he left, he called me almost immediately, and to arrange doing something the following day. I think it's the following day or the day after.
Right, okay. So he seemed keen.
Yeah.
To what extent did he make it clear to you when you were on the date and when he came back to your house that he was interested in you sexually?
I can't remember. Nothing happened on that
Right.
date. We didn't have sex on that date. I can't even remember if we kissed. I don't think so.
Yes, you talk about your first kiss, actually, Sara. We'll
Okay.
look at that. Now, you've talked about his calling you after the date and arranging to see you. You refer in your witness statement to... Well, I'll take you to it, so it really echoes what you've just said, but it's the witness statement 38210, page 5. It's paragraph 3.3. You say, he came back to my house for coffee, and after he left, he called me to say he was going to France for a day trip with 2 other people from the animal rights group the next day. He asked if I wanted to join them. I said I would, and the relationship developed from there. So that was what he wanted you to do with him the next day. That's what he invited you to do.
Yeah, it was the next day or the day after. Right. I think it was, yeah.
A day trip to France, was that to Calais, as far as you recall? Or?
I think it was to Calais, and we went to buy cheese and wine and stuff like that.
Fine.
I bought cheese, so I wasn't vegan at the time, and wine and things like that.
Fine. So it's like
it was a day trip, yeah.
Sure, like a booze cruise type of thing.
And lunch and what have you, yeah.
Right. And did James Thompson drive there and back then?
I think he did, yeah.
Can you recall how many of you were on that trip?
4.
Looking at the cipher list, obviously don't mention any names, but can you help us with who else was on that trip? If they're not there, don't worry.
Yeah, L1.
Yeah.
And on the list,
Yeah.
it would have been page 13, the first person mentioned.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, page 13, the middle line, the first person mentioned.
Okay. Right, moving on now to your first kiss, Sara. You say in your witness statement at paragraph 3.4, you think this was shortly after that trip to France. Again, we're talking sort of autumn, winter 98, if I understand correctly. Can you remember, sorry, I appreciate these are sensitive details, so if I go too far, please let me know. But can you remember the context in which that first kiss happened?
No, I can't remember.
Did he initiate that first kiss, or was it mutual, or instigated by you?
I can't remember.
Still paragraph 3.4 of your witness statement, you say, it's on the next page, on page 6, you say, although our relationship was very affectionate from the beginning, we didn't have sex for the first few months.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean there by affectionate? Do you mean physically tactile or something
Yeah,
else?
from what I remember, yeah, we were affectionate and yeah.
Yeah. Did you engage in sexual activity other than full sex over this period, or was it quite chaste?
I would say it was probably quite chaste.
Right. So kissing, but not much more?
I think so. Maybe it was the first few weeks, not months. I can't remember fully.
Sure.
I know he was autistic, that is true, at the beginning.
Were you spending the night together? Obviously, I appreciate
Yeah,
you
no,
went-
we were. We were.
were.
I can remember now. Yeah, we did spend the night together, and we still weren't happy. So there was some sort of engagement, but not full.
Not full sex.
Yeah.
Right. Still in this paragraph 3.4, but on page 6, you just mentioned it now. He was a little reticent, I remember now, at the beginning.
Yeah.
So do you mean by that just that he wasn't instigating sex?
He was he was holding back and wanted to wait.
Did he say that explicitly, or was that an impression you just got from his behaviour?
No, I remember him. I think, as far as I can remember, he was saying to wait, and I can't remember whether that was around contraception or something else. I can't remember.
Right, but you remember him saying he wanted to wait.
Yeah.
Even though you weren't having full sex with him, did you, during this period of time, consider yourself to be in a fully committed, monogamous relationship?
From my point of view, yes, we were in a relationship at that point.
Was it your impression that that's what he considered the relationship to be?
Yeah.
What gave you that impression?
Just the intimacy between us. I don't just mean physically, I mean in general. The connection and that we had with each other.
Not going into any details, and I don't, please, again, if I go too far, please tell me, but you mentioned that you think the reticence might be tied up with contraception. If I understand correctly, was there an issue of sorting out contraception?
I can't remember.
Can you remember at this stage, Sara, roughly how much time you spent together?
Over the whole course of the relationship?
No, sorry, in this discrete period. So before you were having sex with one another, but when you were involved in a intimate relationship, shall we say?
I can't remember. I wouldn't like to put a time on it.
Sure, don't worry. Now, looking at what James Thompson told you about himself,
Yeah.
the power base profile, this is at 35222, page 4. So it's at B13. And it says Straven told Sara she was 2 years his senior, which meant that he was born around 1968 and was age 31 in 1998 when they started going out. But in reality, he was actually born on the 14th of December 63. So he was making himself out to be approximately 5 years younger from that. Mm-hmm. Is that your recollection? Is that what he said to you? That
Yeah.
If we could bring up, please, Ellie's witness statement. This is UCPI 38206, page 7, and it's paragraph 4.9. Sara, she's referring here to when she started seeing James Thompson. It's just on this issue of age.
Yeah.
And she says, when we started seeing each other, which was around early 2001, I understand, he said he was 33 and that his birthday was the 24th of November. Sorry, he initially told me he was 33 years old and that his birthday was the 24th of November. Mm-hmm. And then looking at paragraph 4.10, she says, sometime later, maybe a few days or a week, James rang me, saying he had been talking to Sara and during conversation referred to himself as being 33, at which point Sara laughed, calling him a liar because he was 36. He told me that he realised Sara was right. He was actually 36, not 33. I met Sara years after all this came out and asked her about this, and she said that the conversation around his age had never taken place. Does that ring any bell with you? Do you remember having a conversation with James Thompson in which you told him he was 36, not 33?
No, because from my understanding, until I found out the truth, was that he was 2 years younger than me, or 3 years younger than me. I can't remember exactly now, but he was younger than me.
Yeah, I understand. So, in fact, he would...
So that would have made him older than me, so that wouldn't have happened.
I understand. Okay, thank you. Just talking in general terms about what James Thompson told you about his job. Mm-hmm. The power-based document, this is 35222, page 4, Sarah, it's at B13, says this, and this is attributed to you, Sara. Straven said he was a location manager / scout for TV programmes and films. His job was finding sites that would be filmed at. This meant he needed to be away for days at a time, travelling a lot. Is that your recollection?
Yes, it is.
So, when you were together, when you knew him, he went away a lot. That was your understanding, that he had to travel a lot.
For his job.
His job.
Yeah.
Did he tell you at that time specifically where he would be going? Every time before he went away, would he say where he was going?
Some of the times, yeah.
And so he'd tell you if he was going abroad or if he was going somewhere else in England?
Yeah.
And would he disclose to you details about the films he was working on, the people, the actors and actresses in those films?
No, it was always more about, I know the only one I remember was the Rosalind Pilcher one in Scotland.
Yeah.
And then he went abroad and, gosh, I can't even remember where now. I think he was in Sicily at one point, allegedly.
Fine. Okay, but that's what he told you.
Yeah.
Looking now to his personal life, you say in your witness statement, we don't need to bring it up, but for the transcript, it's paragraph 3.10, that he told you he had 3 children with an ex-partner. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is.
And did he give you the clear impression that this was an ex-partner, not an ex-wife, or was that not really something he clarified?
No, I think it was ex-partner.
The power-based profile states that he said he had 3 children, 2 girls and a boy, aged between 7 and 11 years. Is that accurate?
That's about right, yeah.
Did he give you the impression that he was a very devoted father?
Yeah.
How did he give you that impression?
That they were his priority. He made that clear.
Right.
So if he'd been abroad, for example, his priority would have been to see them when he got back.
I understand. You say in your witness statement, Sara, at paragraph 3.10, that he told you that his ex-partner, so I think the mother of these children, had duped him into having his first child.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
How did he tell you that?
How did he tell me? Straightforward, I think, that he had been tricked into having the first child.
Did he give you the impression that this was something about which he bore a grudge?
I can't remember. I don't think so. I can't remember. Possibly.
At the time, can you remember what you thought when he told you that?
I thought it was strange that he went on then, if that was the case, to have 2 more.
Did you say that to him, or was that just a internal?
I would have asked, I would have thought,
Yeah.
how come he had 2 more?
Can you recall what he said?
No.
Did he give you the impression that 3 children was enough?
I don't think we talked about it. I can't remember.
Looking now what he told you, Sara, about his previous relationship. He told you, I understand, that his ex-partner, the mother of his children, was with someone else. What, if anything, did he say to you about why that previous relationship had ended?
I can't remember.
Did he make out to you, did he give you any sense of how long he'd been single for? Like how long ago that relationship had ended?
No.
So you had no idea if he'd had a relationship subsequent to that?
No.
Moving now to the start of the sexual relationship, Sara, I understand from your witness statement that the relationship became sexual. This is 3.5 of your witness statement. Is it right to say that was around spring 1999?
It could have been sooner. I can't remember. I don't think there was a massive gap between when we got together and when we first had sex.
I understand. And the decision to make the relationship sexual, was that a mutual decision?
Yes.
You say in your witness statement that after the point at which you started having sex with one another, it quickly became a serious, intense relationship. Mm-hmm. So I understand from that, did it sort of went up a gear, shifted up a gear once you started having sex, it became more intense, physically but also emotionally.
Yeah.
To the best of your recollection, once you started having sex with one another, did you start spending more time with one another?
I don't think we spent more time. It was usually 2 to 3 times a week around that, and it varied on travel because I was travelling as well.
When you did spend time together, where did you tend to spend time together? Was it at your place?
Mainly at mine or at friends' houses that were part of our group.
When you spent the night with one another, was that generally at your house?
Yeah.
Right. Did you ever spend the night at his house?
Once, at the flat in Southey Road.
Yeah. And you refer in your witness statement to his not seeming very at home there.
It was totally not his style and it didn't look lived in.
Right. And you comment also on finding that quite odd.
Yeah, especially on reading his further statement now to say that he actually spent more time in that address than at his real home. So unless he changed that enormously, for me it didn't look like anybody lived there.
Right.
I found it quite strange, and I thought that was because he was travelling so much.
Sure.
It was just a touchdown base.
The fact that you spent most of your time and your nights together at your house, was that something he seemed to prefer? Did he push for that?
Yeah, I think it was always more him coming over to
Right.
to where I was living. Yeah.
If I could take you, Sara, to HN16's witness statement, which is 3 UCPI 35553, page 102, paragraph 279. He says this about a particular report. He says, I have been referred to the report dated the 29th of March 1999 at MPS 0001923, titled Croydon Sabs Privacy Sanctuary. We actually looked at that report earlier, which names both Wendy and Sara. And he says this, I was not in a relationship with Sara at the time of this report, and so would have met her through hunt sabbing. It's a slight non sequitur, but just looking at the date of that report, Sara, which is the 29th of March 1999,
Yeah.
were you in a relationship as far as you
Yeah.
can recall?
Yes,
You were?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're certain of that?
Yeah, well, it was started late 98,
Yeah.
and the sexual relationship finished around about Christmas, New Year, 99, 2000. And then we had a year of being in platonic before I moved abroad.
Understood. Looking now at the nature of your relationship with him, the quality of it, you talk eloquently about this in your witness statement. It's if we bring it up, it's UCPI 38210. It's page 6, paragraph 3.6. I won't read it out, but I'll just use it as a prompt. But can you just describe for us, Sara, just what it was about what you felt your relationship was like? Like, what were the positive aspects of this relationship?
I felt like I'd met somebody who really got me and who got my life on all levels, especially the spiritual aspect of my life that was happening, getting deeper at that time. We had a lot of fun together, and there was just a connection. It felt for me like a soul connection. Don't know how I can describe it. Like somebody I'd known a lot longer than I actually did.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah.
It wasn't just on the physical, mental plane. There was something else for me going on there.
So it was really profound.
Profound. Yeah.
You say also in that paragraph you seem to have a lot in common, so shared interests, and you like talking about music, books, politics, and you refer also to discussing with him your family and friends. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would have talked about that for sure.
So
and he met some of my friends, and he met my parents as well.
Did he? Did he meet them more than once?
He met my no, I think he met them once. I think it was once.
Can you recall, Sara, the context in which he met him? In which they
We
met
went,
him?
yeah. I think my parents. I can't remember if they'd moved recently, but we went round just for him to meet them. I think he came to pick me up from there.
Right.
And he came in for a cup of tea and a chat with them.
And at that time, he was introduced to them as your boyfriend.
Yeah.
You say in that paragraph also that you would talk about your job. Was it the case, I mean, I infer from that he was very interested in you and in your life and in the details of your life?
Yeah, very supportive and, yeah.
In terms of the activities that you engaged in with one another, again, I don't think we need to bring it up, but it's paragraph 3.11 of your witness statement. And you say that together you would go out for dinner, you'd go away together, I'm aware from your evidence so far, Sara, well, we're going to get to the trip to Goa, but from your witness statement and from what we've heard from you today, that you went to Goa with him and you went to France with him. Did you make any more trips abroad with him?
No, I went to, I did the day trip to France, the longer period to France, and no, I think that was it. And to Goa, yeah, in India, yeah.
You refer in your witness statement to going to WOMAD together and going on a break to Glastonbury. I understand that to be the place, not the music festival.
Yeah, the place, yeah.
And you say also that sometimes when he'd been away, he would sometimes turn up at your work unannounced. So I infer from that he was quite spontaneous and...
Yeah, I would get a call and he'd say, I'm outside, can you get out for a coffee?
Right, yeah.
You know, he'd come back. For me, it was like he was surprising me that he was back and he'd turned up.
Yeah.
So
it's quite romantic behaviour, I mean, classically.
Yeah. For me, yeah.
Did you have any rows with him? Was there any conflict?
No, not rows, no.
You referred earlier to the profound level of connection. Did you feel he was your soulmate?
Yeah, in some ways I did. That's where the connection for me felt deepest, was on a soul level.
And I mean, is it too much of a stretch, Sara, to say that he was almost like a perfect man? That's the way he was presenting himself.
No, I wouldn't say he was perfect, but
fair enough. But he had, shall we say, a lot of attractive qualities that the way he presented himself to you.
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah.
And he certainly seemed committed to you. Is that right?
Yeah.
You say in your witness statement, if we go to paragraph 3.19, which is page 8, you say that you fell for James quickly and definitely in the first few months. And you say, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but you say that you adored him and that you were cautious about telling him the depth of my feelings, but they must have been obvious. And then a little further on, I know that in the first year I didn't want to rush anything or push him too hard. I sensed that it needed to move slowly. And you also go on to say, if he had asked, I would have married him. Why do you believe it would have been obvious to him the depth of your feelings?
Because of the feeling, but it was a mutual thing for me. We just really enjoyed each other's company, and I was always over the moon to see him.
To the extent that you don't, if I understand correctly, you wouldn't have felt the way you felt unless it was reciprocated.
Yeah.
Wendy, in her witness statement, refers to being aware that you were in love with him. I can just bring that up quickly. That's Wendy's witness statement. That's 38208, page 5, paragraph 4.3. And I understand, Sara, she's your close friend at this stage. And she says, I knew Sara and James were together, saw each other regularly, were intimate, and that Sara was in love with James. So did you talk to Wendy about your relationship with James, your feelings for James?
Yeah, I would have done. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I would have done.
Sure. Was it your impression that other members of Croydon Hunt Saboteurs were aware that you and James were a couple?
Yeah, definitely.
And that you were in a serious relationship?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
In these extracts, you refer to being cautious and having the feeling that you needed to move slowly. Can I ask, what gave you that impression?
Just, I think the compartmentalisation of his life and his kids and maybe his past relationship. There was something there that just felt, even though we were very together in a lot of ways, there was a little bit of him that was held back.
Right.
And it was just intuitive, really, to not push and rush.
Fine. I understand. So it wasn't something he wasn't explicitly saying, let's take this slowly, but it was just something you sensed.
No. It was more my feeling.
Right. Because he was a little bit guarded and kept.
Yeah, I would say he was compartmentalised,
Yeah.
and yeah, a little bit. There was something there that wasn't clear.
Sure.
But that didn't stop the feeling I had for him, if that makes sense. I also said that I would have married him because I felt that deep.
Sure.
There was just something very, very deep and particular about it. Yeah.
You refer in your witness statement, paragraph 3.19, to the weekend you went away together to Glastonbury. This is in summer 1999. And you say that on that trip he told you that he loved you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when he said that to you?
Really glad.
So this was the first time, just for the avoidance of
Yeah,
that, the
and it
first
kind
time.
of confirmed for me my feeling in the relationship as well. So yeah, it was a good moment for me.
And did you tell him you loved him?
I'm sure I would have done, yeah.
And after that first declaration, did he continue to tell you that he loved you?
No,
Right.
not that I recall. That's why it was such a particular moment. Yeah.
I understand. Just referring briefly, Sara, to something again in the power base profile. That's UCPI 35222. It's page 17. Sarah, it's at B13. There's a reference here to a weird incident that took place one time when he was abroad, and it's attributed to you. We'll just look at it very briefly. It says this, that she, as in you, spoke to James on the phone and he complained about problems with his back. He said he had to take a rest. She asked for an address to send him something, ordered flowers and got a call the next day that the delivery had failed. The address was a B&B and no James Straven was known there. He made up a story about it being owned by family of his and that maybe the employee was new and perhaps did not know he was there. Sara remembers thinking it was a bit odd. Do you recall this incident?
I totally recall that, yeah.
Sara, was this when you were in a sexual relationship with him?
I think it was, yeah.
The point about his having a sore back, there are some semi-contemporaneous SDS documents which suggest that he injured his back around November 99. So about a year after you'd started seeing one another. Do you think that could be around the time this happened? Late
Possibly,
99?
yeah. Possibly.
Do you have any recollection of an incident in which he was on a protest and he slid down an embankment in the north of England? Does that ring any bell? Don't worry. My understanding of the weird incident, when you tried to phone get these flowers delivered to him, was he in England or was he abroad?
No, he was in England.
He was in England, right. When he gave you the explanation that he did you push him on it?
I can't remember. I'm sure I would have questioned him a bit about it. Yeah.
But you gave him.
I do remember him saying it was. I do remember him saying something like it was owned by his family and he'd gone there for a couple of days to rest.
Right.
And that maybe he just hadn't been. Yeah, I do remember something like that.
Yeah.
So I probably would have questioned him more about more about his family stuff or, the fact that they own properties.
Right. Can you remember anything he said about that on that occasion?
Not really. I can remember at one point thinking something like his family owned half of Scotland. I don't know why. There was impression that he gave that there was that was going on.
Yeah, that there was money, that he came from a moneyed.
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
So if I understand your evidence correctly, he gave you this odd explanation, but you ultimately you gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Moving now to the progression of the relationship, you talk in your witness statement about what appears to be a mounting sense of confusion about the direction of the relationship. If we can go to paragraph 3.22, please, of Sara's witness statement, 38210, page 9. Yeah. You say this: I remember as time went on that I knew I needed to talk to him about where the relationship was going. I journaled about the relationship regularly. I journaled about the depth of feeling we had for each other and the confusion I had about our future together, as despite his clear depth of feeling for me, he seemed to hold back so that I was not sure where I fitted into his life. And you refer elsewhere to the compartmentalization of his life. Apologies, struggling with that. This is at paragraph 3.23. You say his life was very compartmentalized. Something didn't sit quite right. It was as if there was a part of him that was kept at bay.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you have referred not long ago to this compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways you can recall that he seemed to hold himself back?
Yeah, through not meeting his children.
So you mean not
there wasn't anything outside of. He met my friends, but I didn't meet his.
Yeah.
He had work, he had his children, he had the animal rights stuff.
Yeah.
And me, and it all seemed to be a little bit segregated.
Would you ask him direct questions about his friends and his family and?
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly what they would have been, but I'm pretty certain I would have done, for sure.
And did you receive direct answers to these types of questions or not?
Sometimes, depending. I mean, he talked a little bit about his dad and his background and some travel that he personally had done. He sometimes talked, and I can't remember details about what he had done with his kids or work meetings and things like that.
Looking at the effect this had on you, this sense that he was compartmentalising his life and holding things back, you say in your witness statement, paragraph 3.23, you say you were very preoccupied with this, so much so that there were nights when I could not sleep for running it over in my mind and writing in my journal about it. However, I was totally in love with him and just thought that was how he was and that he was a very private person.
Yeah.
So I understand from that, Sara, that because of the mixed messages you were getting, it was taking up a lot of your mental energy. You were very preoccupied with this. But your conclusion was that the reason for this was simply that he was private.
Yeah, and I think, thinking about it now, he talked about this background in martial arts, which I now realise that it invokes a lot of control in somebody's life. So I think there may have even been a little bit of that going on with me at the time.
Do you mean by that?
The style in which he lived his life was very controlled.
I understand, yeah. And sort of self-disciplined in keeping things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Apart from one another.
Yeah.
So in essence, you were.
And also obviously because of the disparity between the life he was living and the life his family had wanted for him, that maybe that's why things weren't joined,
I understand. And by that you mean because he'd told you, I think I understand from another point in your witness statement, he'd told you that his dad wanted him to go into the army.
Yeah.
And he chose not to go down that path. But ultimately, again, if I understand your evidence correctly, you constantly gave him the benefit of the doubt. You found benign justifications for the way he was behaving.
Yeah.
Moving now to the end of the sexual relationship. You say in your witness statement at paragraph 3.24, it's on page 10, that over Christmas 1999 you didn't hear from James for about 2 weeks, despite your repeated efforts to make contact with him. And you say we were always in touch every few days, so I was quite alarmed and upset by this. If we could explore that, Sara, what did you think had happened when you couldn't make contact
I
with
didn't
him?
know. He just disappeared off the scene. And for me, especially at that time of year, you know, it's a time where, you know, intimacy can deepen, or you just, you know, you would expect to be hanging out a little bit with the person you're in love with. And usually if he'd gone away, you know, if he was away with his kids or he was away on a work assignment, I would know about it and roughly how long he would be. And we were always in touch when he was away. So the fact that he just totally disappeared, I got quite concerned about it as well. I was like, what's happened to him?
You worried about his...
It wasn't normal for him not to respond. Yeah, it was really odd.
The last, if you can remember, the last time you saw him before he disappeared, can you remember what he said about what he was doing over Christmas or any of his plans?
No, and that's why I think I didn't have any clue.
Yeah.
Nothing as to why he wasn't in touch. It didn't make any sense. I can remember that. It's like, really, like, what's going on here? Because usually I would know if he was going away.
When you say you trying constantly to contact him, was that email, telephone, both?
I probably would have been telephone and text messaging.
Right. And were you voicing in the text messages how your levels of concern and distress?
I would imagine that would have stepped up as the time went on. Probably not at the beginning, but
Yeah, sure.
I can imagine that would have stepped up as time went on. But I can't remember directly what I wrote or said.
And you say you think this was a 2-week period. I mean, at the risk of making you state the obvious, by the end of that 2-week period, can you describe your mental state?
I would have been really upset, probably confused. I would have been confused because it didn't make sense compared to how we'd been in connection before that. And it would have brought up some insecurity as well, I would imagine.
Yeah. Did you suspect he might have cheated or found someone else?
No, not. It wasn't around that. That didn't enter my head. Actually, it was more around. I don't know. Was it to do with his children, his work? It didn't make any sense to me. I didn't think he'd gone off with someone else.
I mean, I'm gathering from what you say that that Christmas period was effectively ruined by this.
Yeah, not knowing what was happening, and I didn't know where that left us in the relationship, you know, but he just disappeared off the scene after all that time. Yeah.
And up until that point, you were under the impression you were in a very serious, loving relationship.
Yeah.
I understand from your witness statement that this brought things to a head of sorts, in that you sent him an email. This is at 3.25 of your witness statement. You sent him an email asking him what was going on and telling him that it wasn't acceptable and that it was time for a conversation about our relationship and where it was going.
Something along those lines, yeah.
And you say this was the first time I challenged him on his behaviour.
As far as I remember, yeah.
And I understand that he did reply to that email and he said he needed to see you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I can't remember if he replied to the email or whether he phoned or texted, but he contacted me in some way to say that he needed to see me.
Can you remember, don't worry if you can't, the tone of that communication? Did he seem contrite? Did he seem to appreciate how upset you were?
I can just remember there was a feeling of oh God, I can't even put my finger on it. Urgency, needing to see me about something. Right. Yeah. Contriteness, no, I wouldn't say that was the right word. No.
Moving on now to the letter that he gave you. You talk about this, Sara, in your witness statement at paragraph 3.26. And you say that he came round to your house, so this is early January 2000, if I understand correctly, and he gave you a letter. So he handed it to you in person
Yeah.
and then left you alone to read it. Is that accurate? You talk in paragraph 3.27 about what that letter contained. I'll read this out, but if there's anything you want to add afterwards, please do, if it jogs your memory. That he said in this letter that he thought the world of you, and he acknowledged your deep connection, but that he had difficulties maintaining intimate relationships for long periods of time due to traumatic childhood experiences, and said that when he had been at boarding school, his best friend had been raped by the headmaster and had subsequently committed suicide. But you say he might have said this in person, and that this had a profound impact on him. And you said that his first sexual relationship had been with a 35-year-old teacher from his school, and that this had impacted him significantly. Does that cover the contents of the letter he gave you?
That covers that in the same, on that level. In the same letter where he'd said about his feelings for me, we had he and I think it's in my statement somewhere that he would still wanted us to go on the trip to go together as planned, even though he couldn't continue in an intimate sexual relationship, and he hoped that we would still be able to do that.
Okay, oh right, well I'll come to that.
Okay.
But on reading this part of the letter, reading about these, what he claimed were deeply painful, difficult childhood experiences, can you describe, Sara, how you felt when you read that?
Yeah, I felt a lot of compassion for him, and I think it also gave me an inkling into why he behaved like he did.
Right.
You know, with the compartmentalisation and all of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it probably also gave me a bit of an explanation that I could understand a little bit more.
Yeah.
His way of being in the world.
I understand. So you read this letter alone, and then I understand from your witness statement he'd been outside, not in your house when you did that, but then he came to the house not long after you'd read the letter. Is that accurate?
Yeah. I think he went for a walk. He might have even stayed. Do you know, I can remember him saying he needed to give me a letter. He'd leave it with me and come back when I'd read it. But, you know, in that very short period of time, give me the letter, go, come back once I'd read it, as in the same, within the hour,
I understand.
half an hour.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's happened. He could have sat there when I read it. I think he wasn't there. Yeah. I think I'm right in what I say there, but I'm having a bit of a...
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah.
But
But the contents of the letter are correct.
Sure. And in essence, shortly after you read the letter, you and he then had a conversation about it face to face.
Yeah.
You say about this discussion in your witness statement, this is paragraph 3.28, you say that he said that he felt bad for having started the relationship with me, knowing the impact his past had on his ability to sustain intimate relationships, but that he had wanted to be with me. Again, Sara, can you remember how you felt at the time when you heard this?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was still empathy there, but there was also like, well, why did you start it in the first place then if you knew that was the case? So there was a bit of a confrontation about that as well. You know, so why would you start to have that with me if you knew that it couldn't go anywhere?
And his explanation for that?
Was that he wanted to be with me, and because it was considered a normal thing to do, he did that because he wanted to be with me.
Right.
Because it was too early to say, probably then, that he was unable to have sexual relationships. But you know, that put into context for me as well why he hadn't wanted to have sex, earlier.
Sure.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And for me, on a bigger picture, that whole story was that all pre-planned so that it all made sense all the way down the line.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
It's all the jigsaw puzzle bits being put together way in advance of all of this happening.
Yeah. You say that when challenged and he said that he had a sexual relationship with you because he wanted to be close to you and sex was a normal part of closeness, that it didn't really answer the question at the time. So I infer from that that you remained confused, but again, you gave him the benefit of the doubt. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there was always the question of why did he start that if he knew it was unmaintainable?
You also say in paragraph 3.29 that he told you, when you were having this conversation, that he realised it wasn't fair on you to continue the sexual relationship, but that he still wanted you to be together.
Yeah.
What did you understand him to mean by that?
That to still have a closeness and a connection and a relationship with me that was based on everything else we shared, but that excluded a sexual relationship.
But by that, did he mean you would still be a couple of sorts?
That's how I understood it at that time, yeah.
So a couple, but just a couple who didn't have sex?
Yeah.
And who wouldn't have any physical intimacy, sexual intimacy at all?
I think so.
You've referred to his saying in the letter that he still wanted to go with you to Goa.
Yeah.
Again, we'll look at that trip in a little more detail. But when you read this letter, when you had this subsequent discussion, is it accurate to say that you were still very much in love with him?
Yes.
And
Totally.
putting aside your feelings of empathy, were you feeling heartbroken, disappointed? How did you feel about your own?
I think there was a lot of mixed emotion going on there, because I think there was something that clicked about, that makes sense to why he'd been behaving like he had.
Yeah.
There was also, sure, some disappointment, but there was a lot of hope also, because that wasn't the main part of our relationship.
I
It was a
understand.
deeper connection than that, you know?
Yeah.
And for me at that time, it felt like it could be something manageable
Yeah, I
going
understand.
forward.
So you didn't feel it was the death blow to the relationship by any stretch?
Not the death blow, no. No, I thought there was still, it could still continue. Because of the depth of the feeling that was there.
Yeah, because of the profound connection.
Yeah.
Paragraph 3.30 of your witness statement, you say this: I was very shocked by the content of the letter, but I felt I had nothing but compassion and empathy for him. I remember him lying with his head on my lap while I stroked his head as we talked. I can remember him saying that it should have been him comforting me, and that he was relieved that I was prepared still to see him. So, if I understand that correctly, it was actually you comforting him to some extent.
Yeah.
Even though you were the one who had been given sort of disappointing news, for want of a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Is it accurate, Sara, that he knew by this stage, he knew you well enough to know you were a very tender-hearted person?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, is it your impression that he would have known that this is how you would have reacted to hearing these things about his past?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
And also, I mean, you refer to challenging him, but that really the detail in this letter, it neutralised any sort of anger you might feel towards him at this stage. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
We'll just do one more topic, Sara, before lunch. There's not actually lots more to cover, just so you know.
Okay.
But I don't think we'll finish before lunch, but
No.
we don't have lots more to cover. Moving now to what James Thompson said about why the relationship ended. He talks about this in his witness statement, UCPI 35553, page 102, paragraph 277. And he says this: the sexual relationship ended through mutual agreement. I realised it was getting serious and I recognised the difficulties that would cause for both of us. Can you comment on the accuracy of his saying that the sexual relationship ended by mutual agreement?
It ended for the reasons that we've just been through. So is that mutual agreement? I don't think so. I think it was on his request. It was definitely on his request that the sexual relationship ended.
And there's no mention in his witness statement of the letter at all. Do you find that strange?
Okay, yeah.
Returning also just to the duration of your relationship briefly, HN16, also in his witness statement, this is page 102, paragraph 280.
Yeah.
He says, we've looked at this report, the one he refers to. I've been referred to the report dated the 7th of September 99 at MPS 0002555, titled L1, which names Sara. This is the one about the car, the Ford Escort.
Okay.
And he says here, I was not in a relationship with Sara at the time of this report. So this is in the latter part of your relationship. Is it your evidence on the 7th of September 1999, were you still in a sexual relationship with James Thompson?
Yes, I was.
So when he says that, that's untrue. Is that your
That's
evidence?
untrue.
If I can take you to another one of his witness statements, this was his second witness statement, just for the avoidance of doubt. Mm-hmm. This is UCPI 35223. It's dated the 17th of April 2018. And paragraph 4 of this, he says, in fact, I had relationships with 3 of the women about whom I was asked to comment. The first was Sara. I met her sometime in the middle stages of my deployment, and we had a brief sexual relationship over a few weeks.
That is not true, as we've already uncovered.
Yeah. And just for completion, in his inquiry witness statement, which came after this, he's very vague about the duration of your relationship. He says at paragraph 265, I cannot remember how long the sexual relationship lasted. We were good friends until she moved abroad.
Mm-hmm. The sexual relationship lasted at least a year, over a year.
You say, Sara, in your witness statement that the letter that we've discussed, he explicitly asked you, I think in the letter, not to share anything in it with anyone else. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And when you had the conversation with him afterwards, did you give him assurances that you would not? Or was
I probably did. I can imagine. I can't remember.
Don't worry.
And I have to say at this point that I did talk to people about that letter because it was necessary for me, because the adjustment from going from that type of relationship to this, and maybe it's a good time to point this out or not, but that is one of the reasons for me that finding out was such a relief, because I had so much guilt over that for years. And I want to make it absolutely clear at this point that these relationships did not just affect us during the relationship and from the date we found out, but it has been ongoing in that period in between. Yeah. And I'll have more to say about that later.
Yeah. No, I understand. If this doesn't seem like a silly question, but what was your understanding at the time of why he was asking you to keep the contents of the letter secret?
Probably because of it. It's not something he would have wanted widely known that he had problems around sex.
Right. And because it was private information about painful past experiences.
Yeah.
Thinking about it now, Sara, do you have a view on why you think he swore you to secrecy? Now you know the truth.
Yeah, because the contents of that letter are outrageous. It's an outrageous thing to have told me if that is not true. And maybe some part of him knew that it would come out at some point. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to have other sexual relationships, so that wouldn't have made sense. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, you've just referred to this, but I'll take you to the relevant section of your witness statement. You say at paragraph 3.32, you say the letter he gave me when our sexual relationship ended explicitly asked me not to share anything he had written. I did talk to a couple of friends about it at some point. The information he had disclosed and the consequent changes to our relationship were too much for me to deal with and alone, and I needed to talk to someone for my own well-being.
Yeah.
So, understandably, you needed to... You weren't gossiping about the contents of the letter. You wanted to discuss it with someone to try and make sense of it yourself.
Yeah, it was too big a deal for me to be able to contain that alone. Yeah.
And in effect, by placing that additional burden on you, by asking you not to say anything, that, well, is it accurate to say that that did place an additional burden on you, in the sense that not only had you heard these very difficult things, but you also had to keep it entirely to yourself, according to him?
And then when I didn't, I had to deal with the fallout of that as well. Yeah.
Well, again, we've established he knew you were a fundamentally trustworthy, decent person.
Yeah.
And do you think it's fair to say he would know that you would feel guilty about discussing this with other people?
Yeah, most likely.
So is it fair to say that in addition to your feelings of sadness and confusion, you also had, well, we know, profound feelings of guilt? Did that damage your self-esteem further?
Yeah. Yeah, it all contributed to that.
Again, at the risk of stating the obvious, but now that you know that it was all fabricated, what is your feeling about this letter?
I don't really have the words.
No, I understand.
I think you can understand how disgusting and outrageous it was to have written what he did and to put me under that sort of pressure, and a pressure that has lasted over 20 years of my life.
I understand. So I think might now be a good time to break for lunch. There's not a huge amount more to go, but I think there's too much that can be covered before lunch.
Yes, so that Sarah can have some understanding of how much longer she's going to be giving evidence. We're able to give a rough estimate.
I think we could be done by 2. Oh, no, not 2. What am I talking? Sorry, 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does that include the Rule 10 process and any re-examination?
We have no Rule 10s. I think maybe even with re-examination, maybe 3:15
Yes.
in that area.
Is that, can I interrupt and ask a question there? Is that allowing me the time to say the things that I would like to have heard by the inquiry?
Yes, I would hope so. I'll talk to Charlotte Kilmore, your representative, about that. I mean, that might take a little bit longer if we don't cover, if we don't manage, if it's not something that's covered in the rest of your evidence, that might add a little bit of time. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that all of those comments are somewhat reassuring, and you know that you will have the opportunity to say what you wish and be able to do so within a time that is reasonable for all of us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Then I will rise now until 2.
All right.